In this video, let us see the continuation of the lesson Lost Spring, Stories of Stolen Childhood. A warm welcome to everyone. After a few days of break, I hope this is the first class for you. I missed the class on the first day. So let's continue from where we have left. Before I continue, let us recall to our mind what we have done thus far in the class. We were talking about the lesson Lost Spring, Stories of Stolen Childhood. And in this lesson, we came to know how the narrator encountered the children of the slum and the way in which Sahib, a slum boy, responded to the narrator. The narrator is at the neighborhood, and at the neighborhood of the narrator there are these slum children. We also came to know in what way the narrator bridged the gap of the poor with the rich, or the rich with the poor. And in that connection, we also tried to answer these questions which you see in front of you. Let me go through the questions once so that things may be clearer. You can recall to your mind all that we have discussed when we go through these questions. First, we asked, how does the author try to merge the rags with the riches? Why was the narrator embarrassed? As I read the questions, you have to recall the answers in your mind. What is ironical about the name given to Sahib? The name that is given to Sahib, means Lord of the Universe. He does not know its meaning, and besides he is living in a very poor condition. Why does the narrator call the children of the slum an army of barefoot boys? Why are the children called an army of barefoot boys by the narrator? She has given them this attribute. Why did she call them so? It's because they all go in gang. All of them go without slippers, without shoes. They go in the morning and they come back in the evening home. So this is what she has observed, and she says that they are an army of barefoot boys. What reason does the narrator give for the children staying in perpetual state of poverty? The children give different reasons for not wearing slippers. The reason that the narrator gives is not the one that the children give. The narrator says it's all because of perpetual state of poverty, endless poverty, misery. There is no opportunity for them to come up in life. What reason do the slum children give for not wearing slippers? They give various reasons. One says the mother has not brought it down from the shelf, and one says that it is a tradition. Even if it is brought down from the shelf, it is not worn. And she also observes a few more boys in different ways. There is one boy who wears shoes that don't match. Okay, they don't match. One side long, another side small. And this is what the conditions were. And what reason did she give? She gives the reason. Okay, what does she say? She says that it is because of perpetual state of poverty. Poverty and poverty and poverty, that's the only reason. When she inquired the reasons for not wearing slippers, she had given all the reasons which I said just now. Tradition, not brought down from the shelf. Even if it is brought down from the shelf, it is not worn. Okay. Then, how does the author bridge the gap of culture with the story of the man from Udupi? 30 years before, what was the condition? And after 30 years, what is the condition? Okay, in the temple is now in an air of desolation. Why does the temple remain in an air of desolation, which was not the case 30 years before? Why there are still, even after 30 years, there are children around without shoes and slippers in that region? There are children there around the temple, they are without shoes, without slippers, even after 30 years. Okay, what is the reason? The narrator also observes there are children who wear shoes, who go to school, but still, even after 30 years, after much development, there are some children who have not developed, who have not got any much progress in their lives. Okay, so we completed up to this. Okay, let me go through the last few lines so that you get the connection. Okay, let me read this first. I remember a story a man from Udupi once told me. As a young boy, he would go to school past an old temple where his father was a priest. He would stop briefly at the temple and pray for a pair of shoes. 30 years later, I visited his town and the temple, which was now drowned in an air of desolation. In the backyard where lived the new priest, there were red and white plastic chairs. A young boy dressed in a grey uniform, wearing socks and shoes, arrived panting and threw his school bag on a folding bed. Looking at the boy, I remembered the prayer another boy had made to the goddess when he had finally got a pair of shoes. Let me never lose them. The goddess had granted his prayer. Young boys like the son of the priest now wore shoes, but many others like the rat pickers in my neighborhood remain shoeless. Up to here we completed in the previous class. Okay, so there are children who wear shoes, who go to school. It was not the case 30 years before. Okay, the temple is in an air of desolation. There is nobody now around the temple, but 30 years before there were children. Okay, but there are some plastic chairs behind But it was not found 30 years before. Let us now continue from here. My acquaintance with the barefoot rag pickers leads me to Simapuri, a place on the periphery of Delhi, yet miles away from its metaphorical. Those who live here are squatters who came from Bangladesh back in 1971. Sahib's family is among them. Simapuri was then a wilderness. It still is, but it is no longer empty in structures of mud with roofs of tin and tarpaulin, devoid of sewage, drainage or running water, live 10,000 rag pickers. They have lived here for more than 30 years without an identity, without permits, but with ration cards that get their names on voters lists and enable them to buy grain. Food is more important for survival than an identity. If at the end of the day we can feed our families and go to bed without an aching stomach, we would rather live here than in the fields that gave us no grain. Say a group of women in tattered saris, when I ask them why they left their beautiful land of green fields and rivers. Wherever they find food, they pitch their tents and becomes transit homes. Children grow up in them becoming partners in survival. And survival in Simapuri means rag picking. Through the years, it has acquired the proportions of a fine art. Garbage to them is gold. It is their daily bread. A roof over their heads, even if it is. What happened?
Sir, your screen is not visible, sir.
Okay, so far you did not tell me anything.
Sorry, sir.
No worry, I will put it in the YouTube channel, all the class, so you don't miss. Thank you, Madhiyalan.
Okay, sir.
I hope now you are able to see it. Children grow up in them becoming partners in survival, and survival in Simapuri means rag picking. Through the years, it has acquired the proportions of a fine art. Garbage to them is gold. It is their daily bread. A roof over their heads, even if it is a leaking roof. But for a child, it is even more. Okay, I have read this paragraph. I hope all of you listened carefully. Okay, though the screen was not visible, it does not matter. Okay, that's not a matter. That's not a problem. Okay, you should also develop your listening skills. As it is being read, things should get registered in your mind. Okay, so now when you are able to see the screen, I'm sure and the questions are asked, you would be able to answer me properly. Okay, now let me go through the lines one by one. Okay, line by line, let me explain it to you, and if there are questions, you are free to ask even during the class or at the end when there is time given for you. Okay, so the narrator says about her acquaintance with the rag pickers. Okay, what do you mean by acquaintance? Acquaintance means contact. Okay, here contact. She comes in contact with the barefoot rag pickers. Okay, and where are the rag pickers now? They are in Simapuri. Where is Simapuri? Simapuri is at the periphery of Delhi. Okay, what does it mean? Simapuri, they say it is in Delhi, but actually it is not in Delhi. Okay, it is far away from Delhi. It is at the outskirts of Delhi. That is why the narrator says, Simapuri, a place on the periphery of Delhi, yet miles away from it metaphorically. What does it mean? Simapuri is a very small place, nobody knows. But when you are inquired about the place that you hail from and you say that you are from Simapuri, people would not know much about it. So they say that they are from Delhi. Okay, so there is a comparison here. Hidden comparison. Okay, so that is why here the location of Simapuri is used metaphorically. The author says that it is miles away from Delhi. Okay, though they say that they are from Delhi, it's miles away from it metaphorically. Those who live here are squatters. What do you mean by squatters? They are settlers. They are not the natives. They have come from some other place and they are settled there. They have come from Bangladesh. Back in 1977 they came from there, from Bangladesh, and they are now settled there. Sahib's family is one among them. Okay, there are many who have come from Bangladesh and got settled. Sahib's family is just one among them. Simapuri was then a wilderness. Okay, 30 years before. Okay, in 1971 or before that, it was wilderness. It was wild. Okay, nobody was there. Okay, forest. Okay, nobody lived there. Not even animals. Okay, most probably, or only wild animals lived. So that is why it was a wilderness. But now there are people. The author says even now it is a wilderness. Why? Why does she say so? What does it mean? Sahib's family is among them. Simapuri was then a wilderness. It still is. What is the reason? Why it is in wilderness even now? It is in wilderness now. Even now it is in wilderness because the people who came and got settled there, they remain there and there is no development in their life. There is no progress. They have not gone to the next level. The place is not developed at all. It is still in wilderness. But another thing is that it is no longer empty. It is in wilderness, but there are people. Who are these people? These people who came and got settled in Simapuri. There are people, there are structures of mud, okay, temporary houses, thatched houses with roofs of tin, okay, that is the roof, and tarpaulin, devoid of sewage. What do you mean by that? There are people, these people who have got settled 30 years before, and there is also, drainage. There is no chance of drain water, okay, getting out of their place of stay. Okay, it was devoid of sewage, drainage or running water. Okay, so everything must be there then around their place of living. So now you must know, you can guess what would have been their condition. There would have been stench. What do you mean by stench? Smell, bad smell. Okay, because the water did not go away, there is no sewage, and now the condition is that there are about 10,000 rag pickers in Simapuri now. They have lived here for more than 30 years without an identity. They are there as refugees. There is no identity for them to say that they are from that particular place. Without permits. What do you mean by without permits? Permits does not refer to identity card. Permission that you get to stay in a place. They have no permits to stay. They have just come there and they are got settled there. That's all. They have no permits, but with ration cards that get their names on voters lists and enable them to buy grain. So this is where I want you to read much more deeper into the lines and understand. See, they have no identity card. Okay, but they are given ration cards. What is the purpose of the ration cards that is given to them? Why were they given ration cards? Who should have taken this initiative of giving them the ration card? I am sure all of you would give me the answer. It should be the politicians. What is the purpose? Why did they give them these ration cards? What is the reason? So it's very clearly written. They can get their names registered in the voters list. Voters list. So they are used only as vote banks. These people are used only as vote banks. That's all. So that is why during the elections they may get some money or something like that, and people might come and give some promises, and they would not come after the elections are over. Okay, and they are given ration cards because with the ration cards they can go and cast votes. At that time there was no election identity card, voters identity card. Okay, so they had to use only the ration card. So they were given ration cards. And there was another benefit also of the ration cards. What is the another benefit? They can go to the ration shops and get some grain for them. So this is a great advantage for them. Okay, for them, voting or not voting does not matter. What matters is food for them to live every day. They get food from the ration shops, so they live there. Okay, and they are not worried about going any other place. They are there because they get some food, some grain from the ration shops, and they stay there. And another question that should come to your mind: why did the politicians give them the ration cards? Okay, I am sure all of you would give me the answer correctly. They were given the ration cards because they can be used as vote banks. It is not that the politicians considered them and wanted to give them a better place in the society. That is not the prime reason. If that has been the prime reason, it would not be in wilderness for more than 30 years. They would have developed the area. Only for the elections they are used, and since they have the voters ID, they can go and get the grain from the shops. Food is more important for survival than an identity. That is what they say. Food is more important for survival than an identity. Okay, so they know it. Identity is more important than the food. Okay, if at the end of the day we can feed our families and go to bed without an aching stomach, we would rather live here than in the fields that gave us no grain. Say a group of women in tattered saris, I am sure it is very much self-explanatory. It also tells us about their lifestyle. Since that is not their permanent place, and they can also go to some other area for food, which they have not done there often, because they get grain from there. They get grain from the ration shops, so they stay there, that's all. Okay, wherever they find food, they patch their tents and that becomes their transit homes. Okay, they go from place to place and stay, and they also get grain from there for their sustenance, survival. Children grow up in them, becoming partners in survival. Please note these expressions. Children live there, becoming partners in survival. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by survival there? To survive, you need a job. If you don't have a job, if you have no means of earning money, there can be no survival. And what is survival for them? Survival for them is digging the dump yard, scrounging the dump yard, scrounging the waste material, and from there they may take some valuable things, maybe 1 rupee. If they get 1 rupee after scrounging for 30 minutes or 1 hour, okay, they get more inspiration, okay, to scrounge more. Okay, they are elated, okay, they feel that they are encouraged by the work that they do. So they keep on scrounging, and it is a survival for the elders. Why the elders consider it a survival? Elders consider it a survival because they are responsible for feeding the family. Okay, and survival in Simapuri means rat picking. So that is the only business. Through the years, it has acquired the proportion of fine art. What do you mean by fine art? An art, it is a skill. Okay, it has acquired the skill of fine art through the years. Since they are doing the same job, they know different ways of scrounging, different ways of finding out where valuable things are available, or in which dump yard there may be much more expensive things than the other smaller dump yards, etc. So they know where things are available. So it has become a fine art for them. And garbage to them is gold. What is garbage? It is gold. Okay, but actually garbage is not gold, you all know. Okay, what you throw in the dust, in the dump yard, it is not gold. It is not gold, it is waste. But for them it is gold. What is the reason? It is from there they get means for their survival. So this is also a metaphorical language. Okay, it is gold. It is the gold for them. Okay, it is metaphorically said that garbage is the only place where they can get some money or some valuable things for their lives. It can be a slipper, or it can be some things, etc. It is their daily bread. A roof over their heads, even if it is a leaking roof. Okay, they also have a roof over their heads. Okay, tarpaulin, thatched house, etc. If they are able to stay there, if there is a roof over the head, they want to stay there. Okay, but for a child, it is not just a means of survival, it is much more. It is not just a means of survival, it more than that. Okay, so for child, it can be a means of entertainment also. They have no other games or other place of playing. Okay, so they can consider it like that. So that can also be a means of entertainment. So I hope this paragraph is clearer to you. So from this paragraph there are some questions. I want you to write it down in your notebook. Okay, it's already 3 and already 9:38. Just 5 minutes more. After that, if there is time, I will also ask you some questions. You can also ask questions. Please write down these questions. What is metaphorical about the place they are hailing from? Can anybody give me the answer? What is metaphorical about the place that they are hailing from? Can anybody give me the answer? Please hurry up. What is metaphorical about the place that they are hailing from? Okay, no answer. So that means I need to explain it to you once more. They say that they are from Delhi, but actually they are not from Delhi. Okay, they are from Simapuri. Simapuri is not a famous place. So the narrator has used Delhi, okay, the name only metaphorically to say that they are from Delhi, but actually they are not from Delhi. Okay, next question. Why were the people in Simapuri given ration cards? At least this one you should be able to answer. Why were the people in Simapuri given ration cards? Hurry up. Are you listening? Why were the people in Simapuri given ration cards? At least message me or say it.
Sir, to use them as voter packs, sir.
Wonderful. So they are used only as voters banks. So that this can come for 2 marks. It can also be asked for 5 marks, and you should be able to write many things on your own also. Next question. Why has the people living in Simapuri not improved in their living conditions? This can be a competency based question. What is the reason? They have not improved in their living conditions. What is the reason? Come on.
Sir, they didn't use their ration cards properly, sir. They just buy their food and grains only, sir.
Okay, that can be a reason. Any other reason? Let me ask you a question. Yeah, someone is saying something.
They just work as rag pickers.
They work as rag pickers, alright. What did the director ask Sahib when she encountered him first? Narrator asked him a question. What did she ask? When she met him first. Come on. Why are you not going to school? Why don't you go to school? So what is the meaning? They are living in poverty for so many years. The reason is that they have no education, no exposure. They are not educated. Okay, so education is the only asset. They have no education. So that is why they are living in that miserable condition for so many years. That is the reason. Okay, and they are given ration cards. They are all not the reasons for them to stay only there as assets for the politicians as voter bank. Okay, that's not the only reason. Okay, main reason is they have no education. You know that in Tamil Nadu, we are all getting education because of one chief minister. All of you know. Okay, Kamaraj. He built so many schools. Okay, he gave primary education. Had he not given, the education would not have developed, and state also would not have progressed much. So education plays a vital role. They did not get that from the government. Okay, how did picking garbage become fine art for them? Anybody? How did garbage picking a fine art for them? It became a fine art. Anybody?
These garbages are the roofs over their head. Here.
Yeah, good attempt. Let me tell you. See, they are garbage here is the waste material. Okay, they are picking that one. They are digging and scrounging and finding out things from there, and it has become a fine art. What is that? Why it has become a fine art? Because that is their only job, only profession. For example, you are a student. I am a teacher. There can be a collector. There can be a police. If when they do their job with dedication, that becomes a fine art. Okay. If you study well, if you spend more time in trying to understand the concepts which you have not understood, your mind gets developed. Okay, so that is a fine art, and you can do it regularly. You can do it, and it can become great. So in the same way, for them, this is the fine art. They are doing that. This is the job. So that is why they consider it like that. So if there is any question now, you can ask me. If there is no question, we can continue in the next class.